Hello students, welcome to my study channel Study Lead. I am here again with the part 2 discussion series of the Nelson Mandela chapter taken from class 10th NCERT textbook. Dear students, in the part 1 video, I had given you many informations regarding Nelson Mandela. You got informations about his childhood, his place of birth, and also I introduced to you what an autobiography is and what ceremony was taking place in the Union Building of Pretoria, how many delegates were present there. But again, I just want to remind you all a little bit so that you would be able to establish a relationship between the part 1 video and the part 2 video of the present series. Dear students, I will simply just recapitulate it, what I had taught you in the previous class. In the previous discussion, I told you that Nelson Mandela had a long battle with the establishment of the South Africa, and finally he got the victory over it. He could finally succeed to remove the power and also bring and establish the liberty and democracy in the country. During his speech, he talked many important things, like he talked about the extraordinary human disaster that had completely segregated the blacks and had taken away the glory of the country. He at the same time placed his countrymen that he would provide them justice, liberty, and a society free from racial segregation. This is what he placed to the people of the country. And now, today we are in the second part of the discussion, and let us go through it. He also placed to liberate his people from poverty, suffering, and discrimination. To commemorate the day, the military produced a colorful jet and helicopter show. The most attractive and heart-touching moment was when the two national anthems were sung. The white people sang the old Nkosi Sikelel and the blacks dashed him. This marked the amalgamation of two races into one and two cultures getting merged together. Mandela also remembered those great leaders who sacrificed their precious life for the preservation of humanity. He saluted all the freedom fighters. So now if you go through this particular paragraph that I have written here in the summary, it is clearly mentioned here that on that particular day the celebration was at the highest level. Right from the children to the oldest people, they all were busy in the celebration. They all were very much happy and jubilant. They all celebrated in their own way. They all expressed their feeling of joy in their own way. At this very moment, the military of the country too produced a beautiful air show comprising of some jets and helicopters. And this was one of the rarest moments that happened in the history of South Africa. And to add it more value, there were 140 international delegates present to view it, to witness that particular historic day. This was not the only spectacular thing about the swearing-in ceremony. The most eye-catching, the most attractive, the most overwhelming moment was when the two different races who had locked their hands for a long period of time, who were in battle who considered each other as their enemy, have come together to sing the national anthem of their newly established country. And this is what Nelson Mandela always dreamed of. Nelson Mandela was not just a politician, he was not just an activist, but I would say he was a great humanitarian. For him, humanity comes first, then comes your family. Humanity comes first, then comes your any other things in the society. So to him, for Nelson Mandela, both the whites and the blacks should be treated equally. They deserve to live in the country. They deserve to have freedom. They deserve to have liberty. They deserve to live in a society where there is no segregation, there is no discrimination on the basis of anything and anything. So this is what was the thinking in his mind. And it was made possible on that particular day when the white people came and sing a national song, followed by the black people who came and sang another national anthem. So two national anthems were sang on that particular day. Two national anthems were presented on that particular day. And that shows the unity in diversity of that particular newly established country. So my dear children, really Nelson Mandela's view towards the humanity is highly commendable, is highly motivational. We all need to draw inspiration from him. We must try to take all the good qualities that he had in his personality. We may not be like him, but at least we should try to be like him. We may not inculcate all those good qualities, all those virtues that he had in his personality, but at least we can have 1% of those good qualities that he had inculcated in his personality. Now let us see what more he is going to present us. On that particular day, he did not even forget those great heroes who had sacrificed their life for the people of South Africa during this long battle, during this 30 or 40 years of long battle for freedom and liberty. Many people had sacrificed their life, and he remembered each one of them. He remembered each and every hero who had sacrificed and dedicated their life for the sake of the people of the South Africa. This shows that he indeed was a great leader, a true leader in a true sense. He had not forgotten the sacrifices of the leaders. So he saluted them right from the highest possible platform of this country, right from the swearing-in ceremony platform. He saluted them, he remembered them, and paid homage to them. Mandela, in his speech, claimed that a country is considered rich because of its people, not because of its minerals and the natural resources. He defined courage as the victory over fear, not just the mere absence of fear. So my dear children, in this particular paragraph here, you encounter two new things here that Mandela has spoken about. What is the first thing? Mandela claimed that, Mandela told repeatedly that what makes a country great is not the minerals, resources present in that particular country. Rather, it is the human resources that is present in the country. The human beings are the greatest resources for a particular country. If the human resources are utilized properly, if the human resources are being valued properly, then ultimately that would lead to the prosperity of the country or the nation. Only a great leader can understand the value of the human resources. This shows that He had an in-depth knowledge about the society and about how to rule a society. He's not talking nonsense here. He can't be wrong scientifically, economically, from each and every point of view. He seems to be correct. A beautiful propositions that he has given. He's going to open the eyes of the people. He's going to broaden their thinking. The people of South Africa had closed themselves in small chambers. The white thought that we are superior. There is no one in the world who can be better than us. Whereas on the other side, the blacks considered themselves inferior for all the time. They never had expected that we can do something in life. We can be as good as the whites also. So my dear children, this opens the eyes of each and every countryman of South Africa. He says that you all are the greatest resources of our nation, of our country. You shall make our country rich, not the resources, not the natural resources, not the coal, not the gold, or not the petroleum deposits that we have in the country. Rather, it is you who matters the most for the country. So, my dear children, it is really a wonderful point that should be noted. At the same time, from the very same platform, he also defined courage. What according to you is courage? Who should be called a courageous man or woman? It may have different answers. Some people may say that someone who is very, very strong physically is courageous. Someone may say that one who is dare to take some great steps or great initiatives may be called courageous. But according to Nelson Mandela, what courage means, courage is not simply absence of fear. If there is no fear in your mind, it doesn't mean that you are courageous. Then what makes you courageous? Rather, it is the victory over the fear. You have to prove yourself that you have got victory over the fear. Like Nelson Mandela. What was the fear in the mind of the blacks? The fear that had settled in the mind of the black people were that they would never be able to match with the whites. What was the fear that had settled or that had oppressed the mind of the blacks? That they would never be able to lead a life as beautiful as the whites. This was the fear in the mind. And when you have developed a fear in your mind, this would certainly become a great obstacle on your path. It would never let you succeed in life. So my dear children, because of that, the Nelson Mandela's definitions of courage seems to be more appealing to me. It seems to be more scientific, more logical. So, really, it is a great point that he has made here. Mandela also talked about the twin obligations of the people of the newly established republic. According to him, every person shall have two duties, one towards his family and the other towards his society or nation. He appealed everyone to love one another. Now let us come to this particular paragraph. Here you will come across a new phrase, twin obligations. Obligations means duties. Twin means two. What are the two obligations the people of the newly established Republic of South Africa have to do? What are the two obligations that Mandela is talking about here? Mandela was very much aware of how to rule a society. He had understood it very well. He was born and brought up in a village. He had gone through various phases of life. He had good times, he had bad times. He was born and brought up in a very well-to-do family, but he has also seen the oppressions, the segregations, the racial discriminations going on simultaneously in the same society. He has experienced each and everything very deeply, and he has got a true sense of that. This makes him more powerful, a more humanistic ruler here. So, my dear children, that is why he says that each and every individual of this nation will have to do two obligations, will have to perform two duties. What are those two duties that he is referring to? He says that the first duty of every individual would be towards his family. What towards his family? What do you understand by it? It means that every person has to make sure that he is an asset for his family. He has to make sure that he is going to give and fulfill all the needs of the family. He is going to meet all demands of the family. He is going to make sure that the family leads a happy and peaceful life. He would make sure that each one in the family enjoys freedom in the best sense. So this is what he was referring to as the duty towards the family. So this is the first duty. What comes the second next? The second or the next duty is towards the society or towards the community, or you may say it is towards the nation or the country in which they are living at present. And more particularly, more specifically, if I would like to mention here, means duty towards their country, the Republic of South Africa. What would be the duties towards it? My dear children, we are all a small member of a large society. Our family is a part of the bigger society or community. And when many such communities are being combined together, that gives the shape of a country or nation. So, he feels that each and every individual has to contribute something to the greater society, to the greater community, or to the country. That may be in any form. That may be, how can one serve the country? By joining the military, by giving his services in the forces, by helping the poor, by doing his work honestly, by becoming a service provider, by becoming an entrepreneur and producing or generating jobs for the poor people. So in this way, there are hundreds of horizons in which one can serve the country. There are hundreds of ideas in which one can contribute to the country. So that is what he expected from each and every countryman of him. So really, this is a wonderful concept that he has conceived in his mind. Next, what happens, you see? He beautifully illustrated how freedom differs from person to person and also has various dimensions. For a small kid, freedom is about enjoyment, merely making and having fun always. But as one grows older, this perspective seems wastage of time and resource. To an adult, freedom is about the liberty to lead a peaceful family life without being concerned about the society. So, my dear children, freedom, if you ask what is freedom to a small child, then the reply that he would give you may not be satisfying to you since you are an adult. Or if a small child asks you in return what freedom is, and the reply that you give to him would not be fit for his particular age. When a child is very small, or when you talk about a small kid, for them freedom is just all about the liberty to play. Okay? Many a times when we go to the classrooms, some children they ask, "Sir, game please, sir, games please, sir, please games." This is the liberty that they want. For them, for the students, for the children of the tender age, of the small age, liberty is just a small thing for them. It is just a small thing. Okay? It is just a small thing. But as they grow older and older, the freedom, the liberty, it takes a major shape. It takes a major shape. Then they do not talk about the games period. Rather, they would talk about privacy. They would talk about peace in the society. They would talk about jobs being created for them. They would talk about a peaceful family life. So, the definitions of freedom changes as we grow older and older. In the same way, Mandela has realized the same. But what according to Mandela is real freedom? Mandela has its own version. According to him, the real freedom is ensuring equal rights to everyone. What a beautiful definition. What a beautiful definition. Is a truly humanitarian, a great humanitarian in true sense. I have no words to supplement his thoughts also. My dear children, when you are happy, it doesn't mean that you are enjoying your freedom. When you are sad, it doesn't mean that you do not have your freedom. Then what actually freedom is? According to Nelson Mandela, if you are happy, try to make others happy too. The people who are around you should also feel very happy because of you. It should be a reason of their smile. It should be a reason of their happiness. Then only you can say that yes, you have given freedom to them. Suppose we are a very rich businessman. You are a very rich businessman. You have got so many luxurious cars at home. You have huge buildings to stay. Okay, crores of property. And there are some beggars who are simply waiting outside of your gate and asking for few anaj, few paise, a few rupees, but you never give them. Do you think you are enjoying your liberty by not allowing them to come inside, or by not giving them a little bit of money that you can help them or you can contribute to them to feed them? No, my dear children, that's not your freedom. You may be happy in your life, but you cannot say that you are enjoying the freedom in true sense. According to Nelson Mandela, in the Republic of South Africa, this cannot happen. This cannot happen because in the very first video when we were discussing about that, when we were analyzing the first summary, there I had told you that now one of the challenges is over. The biggest challenge now that comes in front of Nelson Mandela as a president is the poverty, unemployment, education for all, and that has to be ensured by each and everyone. A president alone cannot make sure that each one is enjoying the freedom. It is the duty of every citizen. It is the duty of every individual of the nation to make sure that they are not taking away the rights of their neighbors. They are not taking away the rights of the people who are around them. So, my dear children, with this, Mandela has given a historic speech which will be remembered for years to come. And definitely, his visions are truly humanistic, and such things should be applauded, should be encouraged, should should be promoted in the society so that our new generations understand the value of liberty. It understands the value of freedom, and it also becomes a truly courageous human being in life. Not just a man of physical power, but a man having the willpower to overcome the fear, having the willpower to do something great for the society, to do something great for the nation, in order to bring happiness in the mind, in order to bring a smile in the face of millions of people. Mandela's speech is historic for many reasons. It established humanity in true form. It brought the opportunity of leading a dignified life without being oppressed by anyone. So truly, this particular speech, which was made on 10th May 1994 by the first president of South Africa, Mr. Nelson Mandela, is historic. It is historic because of many reasons. It is historic because highest number of international delegates attended the ceremony. It is historic because they have overcome the greatest apartheid system and have established democracy, has installed democracy in a country like that. Third, it is historic because he has ensured that people would have twin obligations. It is the first country in the entire world to ask its people to follow twin obligations. I do not know any other countries who have talked about it earlier. So my dear children, and for one more reason also, it seems to be historic for me. It is very difficult for someone to truly show the love for your enemy. It is really very difficult to show love for the one who has tortured you for a long period of time, who has oppressed you, who has kept you as a slave for a long period of time, and you are going to kiss him, you are going to hug him, you are going to mix with him again with the same love and affection. That is really, really commendable. It only can be done by godly person, and he, for me, is really a godly man. He was truly an embodiment of the God with all good qualities in him. So with this, we have come to the end of this analysis of the summary. My dear students, I would like to request you all to kindly go through the first video. If you have not gone through it, please do watch it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and keep your comments. If your comments can help me improve the quality of the video, then I will be very happy. Thank you. See you in the next video.